we're here to talk to you guys about how we implemented virtual reality rendering into both our academic practice as well as our professional kind of works.
So we have this little startup called Island Like Tiny Homes, and this idea came from my friend Douglas and Gregorio. We were just talking one day and we were saying, like, you know, it's been like 4 years of school and we want to have something built in our portfolio because we have all these fictional projects and we actually want to create something. So Douglas was talking with his grandma one day and he said, hey grandma, like, you know, we wanted to build something and do you have any ideas? And she just says, you know what, we have some money, let's use it. And she helped fund our project, which was a tiny home, and it is being built right now in Sandwich, BC, so it's just off the border of Victoria. And we started the project around this time last year. So we were just in school, and we were kind of bored, you know, finals were coming out, we were stressed from the studio, and we needed like a little break, so we started designing this house. And it tells me that, oh, my grandma is going to help fund this project. So you can see the exterior envelope right there. You can see that we finished the exterior over the project in 4 months, and we had another 2 months to go. So we had interiors to do. You can see over here, there's nothing that's really covered up. Everything's exposed. We have the framing done. We have the envelope completely sealed up, and it was time to go back to school. So that actually was a blessing because we actually had some more time to work on our model and figure out the details of the interior, because when we were there, it was awesome because we actually had you know, a real physical model right there. We had a 1:1 scale built thing that we had done. So if we wanted to look at the countertops, you know, look at the storage space, we could just go up there, get the measuring tape, check out the volume, look up, and when we came back to Toronto, we saw that we had a few more things we needed to consider, and because we did finish doing the interiors and we couldn't do the mock-ups in real life like we did over the course of the summer, we had a pretty detailed model, and Michael joined our team at that time.
So during that time, we had a very detailed model, which we basically, what we built in Vancouver, we had this 1:1 very detailed model of the tiny home, and coming back here without this tiny house, we were like, okay, let's figure out the rest of the design, rest of the fixtures, and then utilizing that, we learned 3ds Max because we wanted to explore the idea of, we already, like previously in school, we played around with the idea of VR, so we wanted to bring that to the tiny house and see, okay, let's start designing this interior that we intend to do this when we get back beforehand, so then when we get back, we know exactly what we're doing and we have a general sense of what's happening. So years basically, we brought our Rhino model into 3ds Max. We set everything up, like the scenery, and this basically brought us to making our VRs, which we utilize both as a design tool as well as a marketing strategy.
So why did we choose virtual reality? When we started construction, we didn't have plans. We just had that Rhino model, so we pretty much took all our dimensions from the Rhino model. We didn't want to spend time doing drawings because you have to put it into Illustrator, you have to export it from Rhino. It's not like Revit where you have all your plans and sections just cut out for you and they're presentable. So yeah, we had an existing 3D model. It takes a really short amount of time to actually set it up and render compared to, you know, doing all the Illustrator work and all the post-production. We had an increase in productivity because there's a few things which I'll show later on, which we did see when we were doing our orthographic drawings, and you know, even modeling, you don't have a really good sense of scale in the 3D programs. But once you get into VR, you can see things that you haven't seen before. And because we were halfway done the build and we didn't finish the interior cabinets, we didn't really know how much that would intrude into the space because every little square inch counts in that space. Like, you're looking at something that's 8 feet wide by 22 feet long. You really can't go beyond that because it would be road legal. And also, you know, once you put in the insulation to the walls and you have all these other spaces like your mechanical equipment, you're really looking into a really small footprint. So our house is about 160 square feet. If you count the loft, the storage loft up top, and which is the storage loft, but you can actually put a bed in there, which you'll see in a second. It is about 240 square feet. So decrease in design iterations. It's easy to share, as you saw, like presenting this, very easy. for us, it was as simple as just going to our friends or some consultants or profs, sending them a link, opening it up on their phone. They don't need to have the app, which is great because Yulio can just show this on any web browser. So instantly, you could share this and get feedback in real time.
The way you basically see this is essentially the exact same way you go on to Google Earth and you drag a person on and see the street view. So without the glass, you get the same idea across. And if you guys are interested, like, oh, how do I get something like this in my portfolio? Even just having a simple QR code about like your flat render about your project, you know, potential like employee, they scan that, they're like, oh, this is the VR, and it's very simple to share.
Yeah, and marketing-wise, it's so easy. You presented the Homitos earlier, right? You can carry this around with you, and it doesn't bulge out of your pocket. It can fit in your wallet. I carry it in my wallet, and it's a great conversation starter. You never know when you're going to meet your potential client, right? So whenever we're walking around, especially in DC, and we just get to the conversation of like tiny houses and like the housing market, we just pull these out, show them the design, people get intrigued, they spread the word. So it's a really effective way to, you know, if you're not marketing a thing, but you're just trying to market yourself, showing your designs that quickly, that easily, it's very powerful. So yeah, instant feedback, which was very, very useful. It's portable, like I mentioned, and also we had some previous experience with Yulio. Over the course of our third-year project, Michael and I worked on a basilica.
Yeah, so our third-year project was to create essentially a basilica, and that was the first time we played around with VR, and we did that. The image at the top, that one was done straight through Revit, like just having your base materials, and you know, compared to the one at the bottom, you don't have as much materials, but like just instant space, and we dropped it into a crib. We're like, here, check this out. And the props, they took it, having no idea what VR was, and like, whoa, I can really like imagine the space, and it really helped our project as well as our crib go. And then through that, we just took more iterations, creating more detailed VRs going forward.
And the cool thing is that because we're students, we have free access to Autodesk software in the cloud, so you get unlimited amount of credits. And the great thing is that you can export these renders from Revit straight to the cloud and how many ever you want. There's like a limit of like 20 credits, but you can just render it, and you have this done in like, I think it was 5 minutes. So during our crit, like at school, a teacher would tell us, you know, your doors, I don't know the right location, or the space in the pews, it's too narrow, you know, too close together. So then in real time, we showed our props, the model, and then within a few minutes, we had the actual sense of being in that space.
It also helped us catch a couple of like, things that we didn't overlook, like when we were drawing a plan, we're like, oh, we could put a window there. And then, you know, in VR, we turn around and like, oh, that's how that looks. And even like with the tiny house, while we were designing it, you know, rendering, it takes time setting up all your materials. So even just doing like a clay render, putting on the VR and seeing the spaces, seeing the depth, how much you have to work with, that gives you a great like starting point. Even when you get to the point where you like materialize it and you put more materials to see like finishes and all that, you know, after that you change, let's say we change the way the stairs work or the countertop, you can easily just like relink that, like get a new texture, and then it updates right away. And so it's a very useful tool. It's kind of like once you set it up, you just have a base that you can keep adding on to and reworking.
So because our project went overboard on time and we didn't finish it, I think it was a blessing because it really allowed us to spend more time designing interiors and getting that right fit for everything in that space. So another way we used it was to do design iterations of the storage loft, which was probably like one of the primary spaces because that was quite a large space, and also it was very crammed in there. So as you can see in this picture, when we first designed it, we designed it as just a railing across the side. You can see on the left here, we just wanted it to be a railing more for just comfort, and we wanted it to be more spacious. So we created a little tiny shelving unit, but then we realized there's a lot more space along the end over there, where there's you can see in the second one on the right, drawers where you can actually put more clothing in, and it doesn't really interfere with this sense of compression and being confined, because it's all just using that space that wouldn't be really used, like that extra foot of space by the queen size bed. we maximize the space as much as possible in this design. Doing like kick toe cabinets, we're looking to that too, because that'll give us another 4 inches at the bottom of cabinets in the kitchen to just put in like trays or knives. We imagine that maybe a couple will be living there. When we were presenting this at the construction site, most people that actually came up to us were like retired people that were looking into a more minimal lifestyle. A lifestyle that's simpler. They wanted to shed away all the things that they didn't need and travel as well, right? This one was built on wheels. So if you're living in a space like that for your whole life, it's going to be an important part to actually keep it as efficient as possible. And also, when we were showing them a tour of the house during construction, we were showing all these drawings of how it's going to look like. But this is all they saw. And for a client who isn't in the industry, or people that are just visiting and trying to imagine the space, a lot of people have a lot of difficulty just trying to see like, that looks nice, but I can't really see like how it will be like living here. Like they see the storage units, they see the countertops without any like finishes on it. They don't see the hardwood floor. Right now it's just sheathing. It's pretty difficult for them. So Yulio also allowed us to actually show all these things, how they're meant to be spaced out, how they're meant to be placed, how it actually feels like to be in that space. So we created a bunch of final renderings from our initial renderings. We added in an environment to make people feel like they're actually living out. Maybe they're living off grid, maybe they're living somewhere in BC. We don't need to spend time doing post-production. We can just have somebody even stand in that space when we're building it and show them, hey, you know what? Come up here, sit down on our left. This is the actual view, and then that is the rendered view from that same perspective. Now you can see this was really, really easy to see now, right? Like this, what is this? Like wire coming from the side? People can't really envision that, but when you show them how things are going to be like, set up, staged, people are going to have a really good idea of your design, and they're just going to go through with it and follow it. They're going to be more interested in it. And for marketing?
Yeah, so for marketing it's great because, like you said, like our project's not done, and we can share this with people to get an idea of what it looks like. When we get to the point that this project's finished, we can also send out, our VRs to potential clients. They can take a look at it. Oh, this is exactly what I'm getting. They buy it, and they're all satisfied. So there's no surprises there, and it just been really useful. Like as soon as we posted them up, people are really fascinated with it. They're asking us, hey, how did you guys determine the finishes, and just overall they ask a lot of questions and really kind of boosts our relationship with the clients. And then even in real estate, VR is really popular now because you don't have to go to a site to check it out, you can just share it right away. So it's great for all that.
And we don't want to be sitting ducks right now because we can't really build anything, but we can design, and this has been a really, really useful tool in helping us market the tiny house, because as soon as we posted photos of our construction, real photos, the first questions were, hey, what's inside? How does it look like inside? How does it feel inside? So I don't know if any other tiny houses are doing virtual reality, but just being able to see yourself in that space is going to really help us out in the long run. And by the time we get back, hopefully it's going to be as easy as finishing the build, looking at the contact info for all the people that saw these VRs, and then having them come in for an open house, and hopefully that's it. And by September, hopefully we'll have a client, hopefully we'll have a house. Maybe it's going to be on Airbnb if we don't sell it, but if it's on Airbnb, the more the merrier. People are going to be looking through the listings, and we'll be like, hey, look at this VR. And you'll be like, I can see myself over there. Okay. Yeah. So thanks for listening, and